Welcome to what is going to be a fantastic conversation between two incredible individuals, Rossana Orlandi and Nika Zupanc. Just to put it into context and who I am, my name is Pavlo and I am the founder of the brand Se. And we have an installation here with some of our recent work with Nika Zupanc outside that you can see. I want to say a big thank you, first of all, to Morad for letting us have the opportunity to be here this evening, and also to his fantastic team who have let this happen for us and have been unbelievably helpful through a couple of complications. So just to put everything into context as to why we happen to be here and what we're all doing here and why Nika, Rossana, and myself are here together, I'll tell you a little bit about the background about who I am and the company Se, and the connection between these fantastic women. So the company Se was founded in 2008, and we worked with a French designer, Damien Langlois-Meurine, on our first collection. And then we started to work with Jaime Hayon for our second collection, and this was in 2010. Now, I was fairly new to the industry. I had an idea, I knew what I wanted to do. And we'd exhibited a few times in France and in London. And Jaime said, this is time now for you to try and exhibit in Milan. Now, of course, I'd heard so many things about Milan and the Salone del Mobile, the trade show, that I was like, okay. And he said, and I've got the perfect place for where we're going to do this. It's a place that's truly magical. You'll love it. I was like, okay, what's it called? He said, Spazio Orlandi. So we ended up going to this amazing place, and I was quite daunted by the experience. I didn't really know what to experience. I was very, new to the business, quite naive in a certain way. And I started to realize that there was a really incredible vibe there. And this vibe was one that everybody was sharing a kind of sense of creativity and a desire to really work hard together to create something really special. And I kept seeing this lady walking around and talking to everybody and embracing everybody and making them feel welcome. And it was Rossana. And the effect that that has on you is that you want to do something really special. The place itself just makes you feel that you belong. And this is completely down to Rossana herself. And I am eternally grateful for the opportunities that she's given me then and to allow me to keep exhibiting my products there for the last 4 years. And hopefully this year, well, next year. And you get this sense that everybody, every year, it's the same, lots of similar faces, you see them again and again, and you're in like a commune of people who are trying to create something really meaningful in design. Whether they're just starting or established, it's just an amazing venue. And if you've never been, I honestly recommend, if you have the opportunity, you must go there. It's like an oasis of just amazing design, great friendship, great sociability. It's just a fantastic venue. It's very relaxing. At the same time, you interact and you get very stimulated. So when I was there doing our first exhibition with Jaime, I saw a couple of pieces that somebody else was exhibiting. And they just literally, they grabbed my attention. And I realized that there was a very strong synergy in the style and the aesthetic of what we were doing with this individual who I didn't know at this point. Didn't see who the person was, the designer wasn't there. So I went back and eventually I realized this was Nika Zupanc. And it stuck in the back of my mind that this was potentially somebody who I could work with for the next collection. So in 2014, I picked up the phone, I spoke to Nika, I said, look, I'd like to do our third collection with you, would you be interested? She said, sure. Next thing you know, I'm in Slovenia, in Ljubljana. I'm in her studio. We're talking about it. And several years later, we have this amazing collection by Nika. It's about 18 or so pieces. I can't remember how many. There's a lot. And it keeps evolving. And it truly has been just an amazing journey. A journey which has been, totally thanks to Nika's creativity and also for the good fortune of being at Rossana Orlandi's gallery in Milan. So I'm not going to say anything else because you're here to listen to these amazing women talking about, I don't know what at the moment, but we're about to find out. So I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Nika and Rossana. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Possiamo darti un bacio? I want to kiss you. I want to kiss you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me too.
We were just discussing behind his back how very kind and nice he is. And, you know, we are thankful for this very nice introduction. I don't know, maybe we
Go
start
on.
how we met. Right now we started this conversation with a red nail polish. I have to admit that this was actually the first thing that I noticed about Rossana, and I really loved it, and now I'm following in her footsteps.
She's lucky because I tried to be as her, but I didn't succeed.
So I guess there was always some sort of a mutual curiosity about each other. And maybe I can just start saying how I came to your gallery, because this was a revelation for me. Because I knew about you and about your gallery, but I was, somehow, I never really went there. I remember that I sent you a presentation, which you probably even didn't saw. So, the years went by, and once when I was searching for a place in Milan, I just by accident came to Rossana Orlandi gallery, and I saw you, how you were ringing the bell with this really beautiful red polish. And then I came into the gallery and I stepped into the black room in front of your office, and I fell in love. And I knew that, I have to convince this lady to start trusting in my work. And this was for me the beginning of a special chapter in my career.
That's funny, because I didn't know her, but I saw one of her first pieces in Moi. I fall in love. The table
with the roses.
With the roses and the chairs, inspiration of 50, and I said, she's fabulous. I mean, I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. And I said, I love this designer. I want to know this designer. I knew that she was a girl, a lady. I didn't know how she looked. But I really fall in love, and I said, I want to know and I want to work with this designer, because I find her so enthusiastic, that piece, because it reminds me when I was very little. It reminds me a lot of things, and it was very sweet, very courageous, I should say, because who can repurpose one piece with at my time it was calcomanie, the printing on top. And when I saw her, I didn't know she was as usually, because I never know the names. That's my big problem. Takes me ages to remember the names. Then she was looking for me, and I was looking for her, and so we met.
Yeah, we met by a complete coincidence. I think it was sort of an intuition between us.
And you say coincidence. I think that people look to meet each other, and we did. It's not coincidence. I want to meet you, you want to meet me. And that's not as much as coincidence.
It's a destiny. I think it's a destiny.
That's
also,
it.
Then us meeting with Paolo. But how do you make the decision? I always wondered, how do you know if something is good or not? Is it your gut feeling? Is it?
Absolutely feeling.
It's the feeling. It's
yes,
not.
It's absolutely for feeling. I don't think anything else. But for example, with your table, oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's a sort of a vibration when I see something which I like, and when I like, I really like.
But I think it was also the roses. I would
but
say
was
that
the idea.
The idea
remind me the calcomanie, which was very interesting. It put me back. It gave me a big emotion, and I said I want to work with her.
I also think that the emotion is kind of a base, an essence of the whole Rossana Orlandi gallery, because we were just discussing before that I think your place is really a strong place, and at least if I speak in my name, it influences me as a designer. So there is you, but then there is this magic gallery,
it's
magic place.
A magic atmosphere, because in my place, since at the beginning, It's a sort of you feel home. You feel that you have to join this place and to work all together and to give as much as you can and to. It's a sort of community, I should say, where of idea work. Everybody helps each other, and everybody is quite. It's a very feel home. I say feel home even to the customer when they come. The space is very big, and we are a few people, and we say feel home, go around, and then tell me what you want. But feel home.
Yeah, yeah, and it's something that I really share. And you know, today when I actually took some time to think about our past because I've been now in Rossana Orlandi gallery for like 5 years, 4 years.
Only?
Yes.
I thought much more.
It's almost, but it's almost like really a very long period, and I think I was influenced by the space itself. It's so strong that when you try to develop a new idea, you somehow refer yourself to the place. For example, I have this black room in which I haven't exhibited yet.
Tom Dixon Black Room. He has been the first designer. He came and said, I want black. And I said, oh my God, it's white. Why do you want black? I want black. And it's Tom Dixon room, not bedroom.
Black. But you don't like black, or you like the black color?
I like everything.
You like everything.
No, it's okay. But that always black.
Yeah, yeah, but it's. I think it's a really nice background to the very beautiful view that opens up.
Because if you don't know my gallery, it's an old factory. It was a Thai factory with a lot of charm. There are grapes in the garden. It's not the garden. It's courtyard. Grapes, flowers, plants. It's absolutely shabby chic. More shabby than chic. And there are pieces broken on the floor and okay, but we are between two gardens, one courtyard and a garden, so full of green, big windows, and well, come have a look.
Now you could maybe already say that you are an institution, of course. So how do you see yourself like in the future? Is this going to be not only, but this Milan headquarters, or do you see yourself all around the world?
I honestly, at this point, I would like to be all around the world because Milano, it's very interesting. It's a fabulous city. I love Milano, and Milano is getting better and better. But I think that it should be very interesting if we can go around the world, because the world is changing so much that I would love to have experience in other countries. I work with a customer all over the world, but it should be quite interesting to work in a different place. For example, now I'm arriving from Sardinia. We have a gallery, a temporary gallery, and where I met really worldwide people, and it gives you a very interesting experience. The experience is interesting because when you understand what people want, I translate this to the designer. So it's a sort of richness for everybody. I should say it's like give water to the flowers.
Yeah.
And so I would like to go abroad.
And do you have this kind of do you see there is a border between the limited edition design and art in your gallery, for example? Where do you
That's very difficult. It's a
difficult
design,
also
it's
for
art, what is it? And repeat me again the question, because
so I'm just wondering if you as a curator see any border. What is your border between limited edition design, not like a product design, mass design, and art piece? So where do you divide? Where you say, I'm a design gallery, I'm not an art gallery. What's your... Because I think it's hard to say,
Why do you pose this question so hard?
I don't know.
Can we talk of something else?
No, because it's also something
No, it's
for
such
me
a
as
big
a
problem.
designer. It's
Where it's art, it's design. It's a question which, sorry, but I'm so uncomfortable in the other way. Sorry if I forgot the shoes. But limited edition, it's one point, but a limited edition of design, a limited edition of art. What is art, what is design? From my point of view,
yeah, because it's also a hard
it's a
question
question
for a
which
designer.
everybody, if you are honest, it's very difficult to answer. Because I can say this piece is art, this design piece it's art, but somebody else can say it's not art. It's difficult. For example, some of your pieces are art because they are not normal pieces. They are so beautiful, so incredible, so interesting. So for me, they are art.
And this is something that you feel when you see them. So, you know, or is it because they are limited editions? Because this is also a question that I ask myself because I'm engaged on different levels in a design. On one side, I do a product design.
Why do you do limited edition? You do limited edition because it's very expensive, very difficult to reproduce. That's why you do a limited edition.
Yeah, because you can research, you can implement so many feelings, so many things. Yeah.
At that point, it's a piece of art or limited edition or design?
It's a hard question.
It's art. For me, it's art.
Yeah.
But it's always a question.
But you see yourself, of course, as a design gallery, not as an art gallery, or it actually really doesn't matter.
But the gallery are galleries of design as well. Because there are a lot of gallery who work with a limited edition of pieces which are art pieces.
Yeah, it's that kind of a work. Also me as
it's
a
at the
designer.
gallery who decide if it's art or is design at the end. Because I'm thinking to other galleries, English gallery or worldwide gallery, there are pieces. For example, Nacho Carbonell, it's definitely art. It's not design. What is the difference between art and design? The difference is that if you design a wonderful desk, you use the desk. But for me, it's a art design.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say that it's an art piece, something which is not usable. Like Nacho Carbonell is not usable, is really an artist. Because there are no function. But there are plenty of pieces which are the art and they are useful.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't know if I'm clear in what I'm trying to explain. If you want to do some question, maybe we can resolve altogether this problem. Because it's difficult to explain.
Maybe you have only good pieces and okay pieces. So, voilà. And no art and no design.
Sorry?
Maybe it's no art and no design. Maybe it's just beautiful pieces and okay pieces.
Yes, but when you say how much it is,
because
you have to decide if it's art or design. That's another problem.
Yeah, but why to decide?
If you want to sell,
Yeah, voilà, business.
well, everything is business. Art is business. I think we can't live without business. Even the food is business. Don't you think so?
Yes.
Is it the owner?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God! It's not a business? Nobody else? Let's talk together because that's interesting. To hear the different point of view because it's really a question, it's really a problem.
Yeah, but I think it would be very interesting to hear what maybe an art curator would say, because for example, my boyfriend, my husband, you know him, he's an art curator, and he's saying lately, because he's following very closely what we do, that in some cases designers produce more stronger pieces when it comes to the objects than some of the artists, but then again he sees contemporary art entering when it is interactive, more researching, so not so object oriented. So maybe in my opinion, when we speak about the objects with function or without the function, because I think contemporary design today, you can, see it on a different level. So you have the mass production, and then you have the limited editions, and then you have pieces which could also be art pieces. And I think those two last categories are the pieces where you actually tell a story through the design. So it's not only about material or innovation in the material or how you use the technology, but it is the message that you want to also, spread out. So this is what personally I'm trying to do, especially with all the limited editions that I do for you. So there is usually a certain topic that I want to address, and of course I'm searching to find some sort of, something new in sense of technology or in sense of the material or the combination of those two. But then there is always some sort of cultural question or a personal question that I want to address through these pieces. And this is where I find this excitement, this tension between the form, the function, and what you feel when you see it. And I think this is where we communicate very well, because I was also joking with Paolo that as far as I remember, we actually never debate in Milan. we just work. Yuri, he usually says that we are like two cats, so we allow each other to cross the territories. We work, but I think we really feel what we do. So I feel what you are searching in me as a designer, so what is it that intrigues you? And I guess you really feel objects that I do when you see them. This is something that I learned. Sketches are one thing. When I send the sketches, you and Marco...
Sometimes are good, sometimes are more good.
Yeah, from the beginning, I was trying to go step by step.
And Marco says, don't worry, it will be different.
And this is usually how it ends, the debate with the sketches. Don't worry, it will be different. But I think in the end, it is always in these, years that we are working together, it's when you see my piece. Then I see on your face whether you feel it or you don't. But actually, I think you loved all the pieces that were...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's incredible, these women, huh? What do you think of these chairs? I love them. And normally I sit in a different way, but I came tonight.
Maybe we will demonstrate.
Yes.
Yeah. In the end. No, but also I think our relationship is really one of the reasons that these chairs were actually born in first place, because besides the fact that Rossana is a fabulous curator, I also think that the gallery is a very beautiful platform for people to meet, for different relationships to develop. And I believe there wouldn't be any of collection 3/4C if it wasn't for Rossana Orlandi. But this again was your eye, your intuition, to select designers and companies that somehow have the same philosophy. Because with Paolo, we met at your gallery. I would never met him if it wasn't for you.
Paolo, how did you arrive in my gallery? I think with Jaime.
Yeah, with Jaime.
With Jaime.
Yeah, I didn't know your gallery before. I didn't know very much about Milan before. And then suddenly I was taken there. And then I've stayed there ever since. Like every April I'm there. I will be there again this coming April.
And Jaime was very cross with you.
Because I took the space.
Exactly.
But I made it look nice.
I remember.
What can I say? I tried my best.
Yeah, but I think this is, kind of also speciality of your place. It somehow sketches you, so then you cannot leave. So you need to be there, you need to stay there. I also think it's some sort of oasis in Milan. you know, with all the
Let's
rush.
talk about these beautiful women.
Then you should ask me some questions. Today I am answering almost everything. Yeah. In a way, I already told everything about myself through my pieces, so maybe there is really not much to say.
Why don't you explain what you have got inside? Because somebody would design a chair like this. Explain. It's so amazing.
Now, maybe I could say that I'm more of a storyteller than I'm a designer. And since I was very little, I always had this urge to rebel, to tell my point. And I always had this feeling that there is a certain story that I want to express. And somehow it was the design, the product design, it was a tool that allowed me to say this story. Maybe in short, I would say that, you know, I'm faced with this cruel reality every day, because it's in a way, it's really so realistic. Reality can be so very much realistic. And I think with this special storytelling, I can add this different perspective to everyday life. So actually I'm inspired by this gray everyday life, by the people around me, by love, by emotions. And then I want to translate this into the objects.
What is the inspiration of the... I'm in love with the place, with this armchair and the sofa as well. Explain it.
It's so bizarre. This
collection.
No, it's really...
When I saw it, was wow.
The inspiration for this was because when Paolo approached me, I immediately got some kind of a vision. I felt him, I felt the company, and I knew what he wants. I had this sense of what he wants. He gave me few keywords. He said Tom Ford, a movie of Tom Ford, Single Man. And then I somehow said, what about if I would do Nika Zupanc pour homme? So like a collection for men. This served like my inner inspiration. And then I was thinking a little bit further, and I was actually inspired by some sort of a imaginary sports club, like, you know, this secret Herrenzimmer or boys club where those men go after a good match of tennis and speak about I don't know what. So I try to envision that kind of a setup, that kind of a scenery, that kind of a theater, so some sort of a smoky reality which I didn't saw very clearly, because Paolo, with his appearance and with his a bit French attitude, he was also representing this brand in this very classic manner, I could say. And on the other hand, I spend a lot of time in the gym. I like to be in the gym myself. And you know, these gym places, these are really, really strange places. I think, at least in Ljubljana, they are the most ugly places one can see. And first, when I went there, I was in a way shocked, you know, to be there with this completely different energy. But through the years, I somehow learned to appreciate all those forgotten details, because, you know, I'm speaking also about the very old gyms from socialist times. So there are so many details that nobody would even care for or notice. But for me, they have this very strong potential of translating something which you see as ugly or as not attractive into something very beautiful. And this was the base of this collection, which started, for example, with the Pride mirror, because, you know, then I always use the names to underline the stories that I'm telling through the objects. So it's strange inspiration for this collection. It's really strange. I would say it's this, my most intimate, really not attractive everyday reality that I'm faced with, then translated with the philosophy of C Company into something, I hope, really very beautiful. Strange, huh?
Strange. What do you think? I was thinking, I fall in love for the table with the roses.
And now this.
Now, I was laughing when I say it like this, because she designed a fabulous bed, The name of the bed is?
Love Me More. Love Me More. The bed is Love Me More.
That's it. Easily and closing, and opening and closing. Then she left me, and okay, I do the same. She was straight on the bed, and it was like this, and said, "It's okay." I opened this bed, and boom!
Yeah, yeah. We actually almost killed Rossana. It was in Sardinia. Yeah. It could be the end. Like.
I feel so stupid.
Yeah.
Really, that's a gym.
That's gym. But you need to be, very strong in order to to be a designer.
So light, so easy, so simple. My God.
Yeah. But the bed was nice. The bed is amazing.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. What will you do next collection? Have you got already? Not what you do, but
No.
which inspiration?
There are a few. Again, I guess your gallery will be the inspiration. I don't know if I'm ready to share the inspiration thoughts. I think I need to,
Plenty of time,
Yeah, I still have time. Yeah.
to be ready.
This is another thing that I think we are good at, doing everything in the last minutes. I think this is also...
Is it okay for you, Pablo, when he arrives to Salone del Mobile, is really...
It's always last minute, but that's the joy of it. Everything
Yes, it's,
happens
oh my
right
God,
at
this
the end.
remember. It's such a stress.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about Pablo as well, because he's such...
Yes.
Huh?
He's so
We have
nice.
been very lucky.
Yeah, both of us. It doesn't happen many times in a lifetime to meet Pablo.
Thank you very much. It's not about me, it's about you.
Yeah.
No, it's always a plumb, something fall down, the glass broken. Oh, never mind, it's broken. You never lose your patience.
Sometimes, but you've never seen it, so it's okay.
Never.
It's an act, it's a facade, But I think that's what's really fun about doing the show in Milan and any show that you do and any product that you make. It's that last minute. Things get made. People think, you spend all this time thinking and talking about it, but not making it. And then you're like, Christ, we have to get this thing ready and there. And you've got like a week. And then you're like, okay. And everyone suddenly starts working manically to get the thing there. And that's fantastic because there's this drive that everyone shares. And it's like, let's get this done. And everyone does the same thing. And everybody at any show, it's kind of like it's like a concert in a way. You've got the guys that come and they set up the stage and they do all this. And then afterwards you've got the next group, the pop band that come in. In the case of the design world, there's, the sellers, the people who are trying to kind of, promote the product. And they're very different to the guys who were there the night before. And then you get the people who walk around and they think that you've spent hours and years trying to think about it. And the reality is, this was done like last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're still cleaning it on our knees, but we look really nice now. And this is what I love about this industry, and this is my personal passion. It's the manufacturers, it's setting up the show. And then you see the people's reaction when they come in. And now it's all with the phone, constantly with the phone. Everyone's taking photos of the smallest details. And those details are created by Nika and designers and the manufacturers. And it's just... And it's a bit like a hospital at Rossana Orlandi's gallery when you set it up. You wait your turn, you don't know when the doctor's going to come to help you hang the mirror, but you just have to wait, you have no idea. Then they come, and it's all done, and it's like, okay, great, thank you guys, okay, they go, and then you're like, there's another one. And it's like, okay, and they come back, and there's no problem, and you're there until 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just great, and that's the reality behind the facade that we put on. And that's kind of that's why we keep doing this all the time. We do this to ourselves. We don't know why we're doing it at the moment. We end up smoking again because we've stopped, because of the stress, because it's fun, because you end up talking to people. And you just have this opportunity to create something for 4 days, 5 days. And then you go, you pack up. And that's why I say it's a bit like a concert. The band, they come, they do their thing, and then they leave. And there's the background behind, and those little people behind that are all helping you setting it up. They're just as important. And they're never here. And they never get to speak. And it's normal. That's the way the world is. So, yeah. Anyway, that's me.
Anyway, we enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
We enjoy all
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
it's
And I think that the worst,
softer,
I-
huh?
no. I
She
want to
likes
sit
just
down.
soft
Yeah,
chairs,
I could
really
lie
soft.
straight on your chair.
Yes, you may.
I'm so lucky that this chair, if I don't sit like this, I don't feel so comfortable. Now it's better.
It's better.
Am I louder? Boss, am I louder?
You're allowed. Of course you're
Oh,
allowed.
thanks.
You can lay down. It was fantastic.
I would, but I can't sleep.
Yeah, it's
For sleep is
not
not,
now.
it's not a nice.
No, but I think it's one of your parameters. It's the concept, it's everything, but it needs to be really soft, really comfortable. Otherwise, it's not okay
Of course.
when it comes to the
But
chairs.
this I love the chair.
Yeah,
I prefer the sofa for me.
the sofa for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I can work on
Did-
my iPad and a fabulous sofa.
Is there one still at the gallery? No.
It's in Sardinia.
Ah, it's in Sardinia.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still in Sardinia.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
be back next week.
Yeah.
But I love it.
So-
It's gorgeous, but the sofa is there. Yeah.
And it's so nice, because
It's
Rossana,
small for me, I can lie as I
you
want.
have so many pieces, and it's everything all around. It's somehow floating, and it feels nice because you are. This is how we all stay connected. You don't really know where all your pieces are, but they are somewhere there, safe with you.
Anyway, for me, the most ugly day for the Salone del Mobile is at the end. I'm so sad. I don't know what you feel, but I'm so sad because it's so an emotion when we prepare a lot of problems, things which doesn't go. But the last day is, oh my God.
Yeah, it's the same for me. It's like a 1st of January because actually I always feel like I have this year from one April to the other April. This is also how I structure my activities. So, it's really like this very big excitement going on before Milan, before the April, because you reveal all your new things, all your new projects. It's like having a very big party. You also meet all your friends, and I think your gallery, they really come. They all come. So if you just sit in the courtyard, you for sure meet whoever you want to meet. And then I share the sadness when it is all over. It's a bit like 2nd of January, like, the energy going down. But, then we have the holidays and the Sardinia, and now we start again, I think.
Exciting.
Yeah. And then all the affairs in Milan, they brought us here to sketch, which is also interesting.
What have you done before, Pablo? I never asked you.
With what?
Before to work with the French, I didn't like.
The French.
The French design, I don't know his name, but I didn't
That's
like it
okay.
all.
I like it a lot. I like him a lot. I like what he did a lot. But no, it's not here. It's okay.
But
Sorry.
I didn't like.
No, before, I used to sell furniture. I had an idea of starting a brand of furniture because I thought I could create, without being a designer, I thought I could create something different. I thought I could introduce a new style in a way. Not new, but but for me it was new.
I think it's new.
Yeah, I think there's a new direction that's happening anyway
Absolutely.
with the design world, which is nice because you have the big institutions, you have the big Italian brands, which are fantastic, and then you have, the French companies, great, and the Danes and the Swedish, and that whole movement, and it's fantastic. But I don't have any background in that at all, so I came at it from a very different perspective, and I just wanted to create something that, because I can't draw, but I can see in my head how it works. So then I will work with designers like Nika, with Jaime, or the Frenchman, to create pieces
I
that...
don't see any piece of the French around anyway.
I think they're really beautiful, and for me they're very
Amazing.
important because they were the beginning of this whole project, which I don't know where it's going to go, but it's becoming more kind it's becoming more real now, because now I kind of think, okay, I know certain things about this business that I had no idea about before. I thought I did, I knew nothing. And I think that's what kind of made it quite interesting. It's not knowing anything, you suddenly learn by doing it. And that's actually the best way of learning something. You can't just think that you know something, you've got to do it. You've got to realize the good things, the bad things, and you keep growing. So I guess that's how it started, and now, at the moment, and I think when we did the last show, people were saying this is the most coherent presentation of your products, of your work, of the brand, because we're getting to that point where we know our identity. And it's not just we have an idea, now it's like we have an idea and we have the structure to do it. It's how do we keep going? And like you said, the big problem then is that you have to sell. And that's a totally different side of the business. It's how do you sell these products? Because it's great to make them, it's great to show them, it's all fun, but you've got to sustain it. You've got to keep going with it. And that's really difficult. And I have no idea about that yet. No idea.
I shake your hand. When I started, I have no idea at all what to do.
Yeah, I think that's what's
I
fun
started
about it.
13 years ago only, and I have no idea at all. But everything involved, and you learn a lot.
I think that's what
Every
makes it
day.
different.
Huh?
That's what allows you to stand out in many
Exactly.
ways. You know? And I think if you're coming from it from a very different angle from the outside, then you have to prove it. You really have to make sense to people that this is what I'm doing, communicate that very clearly. And Nika's the same thing. Her designs communicate clearly that there is a thought process that's gone behind it. And that thought process just evolves and it becomes very succinct, very real. It's not just, oh, here's a chair, here's a table. No, there's a whole synergy of everything that's gone on. And there is a thought process that goes on. Like I was saying, you know, it all happens last minute. But before that, the amount of work and effort that goes into every single detail, it's very intense. And, you know, you never really get a chance to reflect because everybody wants something new.
Didn't you say 1 week?
Yeah, anyway.
Sorry, but it's a long time, 1 week,
1 week.
to realize all the prototype.
Some prototypes have taken a week, some prototypes have taken a month, sometimes a day. But that's the reality of it. You know, some things happen very quickly and some things happen very slowly.
Tell me, are the prototype perfect, or after you've done the prototype you work a lot to make the prototype perfect?
Now we work a lot after.
After is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
after.
say.
It's always been the way. At the beginning I thought the prototype was the finished article. It's not.
But it's far from it,
Yeah.
really, really far from it, because with the prototype, you know, you start really to see what's
What
happening,
exactly.
what exactly is, and then you have to work with the manufacturer, and I think this is really the challenge, because you need to visit them, you need to, you know, teach them. First of all, they teach you, you teach them, so it's kind of a process. And now it's really interesting because Paolo, he found so many producers in Slovenia. Yes, some he found on his own, some I suggested, and it's, you know, he's in Slovenia all the time, and we visit the producers, we do the prototypes.
Right.
Strange, nice, yeah.
So it's good for you, you can follow better.
Yes, I can follow better. Yeah, yeah. I'm there, so because this is an important phase, as you know. If you don't have a good producer, then all ideas are in vain.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I've never been.
You should go. You should go. It's
All
really
together.
Yeah, we can all go. We'll all go tomorrow. Let's all
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Paolo
Maybe next
can
week.
take you.
Yeah.
Haven't you got any question which you would like to know?
Yeah, maybe now.
Because it would be very nice if we join together. We are a few people, so it would be very nice. Boss, where are you?
Yes.
It's gone.
No, I'm here.
Question time.
I was just wondering how the sort of commissioning process works, and whether, first of all, the products are commissioned by Pablo or whether they're commissioned by Rossana. And you were talking earlier on about the fact that Rossana tends to like seeing the object rather than a sketch. So has it reached a very developed stage by the time that Rossana has seen it, and who sort of approves the designs in a way? I'm not very clear as to whether you're creating them separately for say, and then Rossana either likes them or doesn't.
Yes, of course. These are two different things. On one side, I was working with Pablo. We met at Rossana Gallery, but we have our separate way of working. So when I designed the collection for him, it was just our communication without Rossana. Rossana, she just serves as our platform in this case. But when I work with Rossana, it's of course a different thing. And I think it's an interesting thing, because I think for me the entry point to her gallery was really the Moai table with the rose. And after that I proposed the homework collection, which as a sketch I think it didn't go through. Yeah, the sketch, but I think I forced her. She wasn't really convinced. I was convinced, so I said, no, I will just do it. And I remember that you were hesitant a little, but maybe my sketch wasn't.
As much as the other one.
But in the end.
It was something I said, how does it work? What's it? Don't worry, you remember.
Yeah, because there was also a very big technical part that actually also we needed to develop. So it's sometimes hard to, to propose something which was never seen before. So you are really speaking, about the things which you cannot refer to or point with your finger. But then I remember I came to Milan with finished pieces. So it was sketches, it was a bit of doubts. I was convinced, and I somehow pushed her. I said, she will like it. And in the end, this was really the case. I had an exhibition, I brought the finished pieces, and at the moment when she was able to experience them, because I'm speaking about the homework collection, which was really very intuitive, interactive piece. So you could open the table, you could open the cabinets. I think this was actually where our love affair started. I think this was the key point. And this was also the key point for my relationship with Paolo, because this was in 2011, and this is how it all started. And from now on, I think we somehow built a sort of a special trust or relationship. I think it's really intuitive completely. So we don't have this urge to discuss it in detail. I don't know, maybe Rossana, you can add. No.
Particularly because I haven't understood very well what he asked.
No, he didn't. He wasn't really sure whether you are also engaged in the creative process with Pablo.
With the design, that is they have a relationship. And when they arrive, I say, oh, gorgeous, or maybe I don't like. This is something which I don't like. But now I like.
Well, apart from the French.
No, French, no, but the mirror, which I didn't like at the end. I said, why not? Yeah.
Can't make everything for everybody, right? It's true. It creates a conversation, though. Not everybody will love everything, and that's life.
No, but I think this is also, a base of contemporary design. So you try to spread messages. I think you have this opportunity to address certain topics, certain themes in the design. And of course, it's not there just to be liked. Sometimes things that you like are too safe and not interesting. So I think you need to research, and as a creative person, you need to push both the gallerists and the companies, because the creative person should be the one really pushing the boundaries, searching for new things.
I never want to close the creativity. I never want to be around the creativity of the designer. I love to leave absolutely free the designer with their ideas. Then we discuss after, but I never say do this or do something like that. Yes, I can say don't do a chair because we've got so many chairs and do something else. But then nothing else. Because I think that is very bad to reduce the creativity.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's always a sort of
Absolutely.
carte blanche with
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. But
Maybe
then-
there is a little hint, like use this material, or there is a
yeah,
company
then we
suggesting
can
something.
speak,
But
we can communicate, but never push, never. I don't like to use the designer in what you need. Designer should be absolutely free.
that's a really nice curator to work with, with this attitude.
Well, I couldn't understand exactly the question.
Well,
No, this, the noise was a joke.
What's the driving force that made you start doing what you're doing? Different question, one for each.
Non ho capito.
What was the driving force?
What was your driving force? Why did you want to do
What you do?
what
My
you do?
work,
Yes.
But what if you had to do just one thing?
Well, because when I finish, I've been working fashion for ages in knitwear particularly, and there was a spin yarn factory, so it means study yarns, study colors out with the 2 years in advance, do tendencies. I have always followed design, and I am a collectionist as well, so it was my my hobby, my interest, and I love the design. So when I decided to stop, the reality is that I find that place, which is my gallery, and my idea was to stop to work just for some period. Then with this fabulous place, my family said, do whatever you want. And so I said, why not to develop my hobby, design, collectionism, but I spent 1 year without doing anything because I didn't know exactly what to do and what to do in that space. Then the ideas how to work comes by the designer because I start to buy some new designer. My first designer has been Sebastian Wrong, and so I start with him. Then we have got a great idea. That has been our beginning, for the truth. That I said, okay, this beautiful space, I knew a lot of designer because I was a friend with them. So I said, why not to do an exhibition? The name was Tabula Rara, because I think that the table, and this was 12 years ago, the table is really the substitution of the once was to living room, salotti. We call salotti in Italy. We talk in the salotti, all the changement of ideas and big conversation was in the salotti. But already 5 years ago for me was around the table, eating or working or anyway discussion, but the table. So we did this exhibition Tabula Rara. The first year we did with friends. Friends were artists, designer, was Esther Roder, for example, and they did an amazing table. And we did 14 tables. And this got a big, huge success. And my space was empty. The year later after, I did with the designer. No, sorry, I did with the magazine, design magazine, Aldeco, Marie Claire, all the Italian magazine, where always were 16 tables, and it's been fantastic. It was funny because the magazine said, no, I can't work near this, no, I want to be, but when we were setting the table, everybody was so funny, so charming, everybody friends, that when has been the opening of the exhibition, everybody was sad because we couldn't play anymore. And in that way, we started. The year after was the designer. That is the Black Room, Tom Dixon, because I involved all my designers and my friends. And so the place started to becoming helped by everybody. Because I think that really what I did, I learned a lot from all the people who has been in my space and who are in my space. I'm learning every day from everybody. It's a sort of give each other. It's a sort of meeting point from every point of view. I receive a lot, people receive a lot. Is learning and growing up every day.
What was the initial question? Why? Why all of this? Yeah.
I mean, I guess there may be why, but if you had to say one thing, why have you wanted to do?
One thing.
Or maybe.
No, it's a good question in sense of, putting it down to one thing. I think for myself, this why wasn't really ever the question. I think there is a certain passion inside me which is actually bigger than me. So it's more of that there would be something out there which is pulling me, wanting me to show what I can show, or to communicate what I feel I need to communicate. And as I already said, strangely, I find design as a tool of communicating, as a very strong tool which enables you to communicate with so many people on a very subtle way. And maybe this is what I also like about design, because you don't need to be so direct. You can actually just ask questions. You can, you can play games. I like to play games. I like to rebel, to maybe be political on a certain point. We need to finish. So yeah, I think it's the passion. I think this is the really driving force in everything. I think we survived. We did it. We are done. We can go and have a dinner. So thank you, Rossana.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you.